and I would like to pass the time over to Lenny from Jungle Scout.
Okay, thank you so much, Serene. I appreciate that. Hi, everyone. I hope you're enjoying the webinar so far. My name is Lenny Smith from Jungle Scout, the leading all-in-one platform for helping Amazon sellers sell on Amazon. So the topic for today is how to find profitable products to sell, because of course, finding a product is the foundation of your business. So today, we are going to be covering exactly how to find profitable products to sell on Amazon. By the end of this section, you'll know, or this will include how to build out a list of product ideas initially, and then how you can narrow down those product ideas to the one that you want to sell. So the first thing we'll talk about is the characteristics of what does a good product look like in your search for a good product or niche. And I've got this divided into two areas here. We have must-haves and nice-to-haves. As the name suggests, the must-haves are more important. These are really the foundational things that you need for a profitable product or a winning product. First up is existing high demand. You want to be selling a product that you know people are already searching for. You don't just want to sell what you think people are searching for, or just a product that you like, or maybe a friend or family member likes, but you want to verify that there are indeed people searching for this product. The other thing that you want is you want to make sure that there's low competition. If you imagine, even if you've got a product that's selling thousands of units per month, if there are lots and lots, hundreds of listings out there that already have thousands of reviews, it's going to be very difficult for you to sell in that space. So you also want to look for low competition. The next thing you need is good profit margins. This is a mistake that I've seen a lot of sellers make, where they go to all this work to launch a new product, yet it only has very small profit margins, and it becomes very hard for their business to scale. And so a very rough rule of thumb, I'd suggest aiming for at least a 25 or 30% profit margin. Next up is no legal issues. So you want to make sure that whatever you're looking to sell, you're not infringing upon a patent or someone else's trademark. For example, if you went onto Amazon and saw that maybe some Disney toys are selling very well, then you wouldn't be able to sell those unless you had authorization from Disney. Lastly here, I've got the ability to improve. It's not enough just to take a generic product and put your own brand or logo on there. You need to find a way to differentiate your product from your competitors so that you can stand out. And in a little bit, I'll talk about some ways that you can go about doing this. The next group that I have here is the nice to have group. And so these are a little bit less important, but they do, or they will help improve the quality of your product and help you stand out. The first one is having something that is small and lightweight. You'll generally see that the two main sort of categories on Amazon are standard size and oversized products. Particularly when you're just starting out, it's going to be a lot easier to sell standard size products that are small and lightweight. Oversized products are heavier, they cost more in shipping. There are restrictions in terms of how many you can send in at a time to Amazon. So they're just a little more complicated. That's why small and lightweight products are great to start out with that are standard size on Amazon. Next is low seasonality. So you want to avoid selling products that are very seasonal. So for example, a Christmas tree would sell very, very well at the end of the year, but not really any other times of the year. So it's best to look for products that will sell all year round. One thing to note here is that a lot of products will have some degree of seasonality, which is okay. You just don't want it to be extremely seasonal. Next up is simple and durable. You want to make sure that, you want to make sure that the product's very simple. It doesn't have too many moving parts. And then the last thing here is that the product is weird. And what I mean by that is that the most popular products, the ones that you would likely see in the top 100 bestseller sort of categories, those are typically already very competitive and more saturated markets that are harder to sell in. And what I've found is that typically products that are a little bit more strange or a little bit more obscure, the ones that you don't necessarily think of, are the ones that end up doing really well on Amazon. All right, so next up, let's talk about the product blueprint. How do we go about finding these products? So what I like to look for is when you're searching for a product idea on Amazon and you're looking at all the listings, you generally want to see that the top 10 sellers have a combined monthly sales of at least 3,000 units per month. This verifies that there is indeed demand for this product, that a lot of people are already buying them. And then I mentioned earlier that you're after low competition, and the way we gauge that is through the number of reviews. And so within that top 10 sellers, you also would ideally like to see 3 or more sellers that have less than 50 reviews, or 50 to 100 reviews. That indicates that there's some opportunity for you to come into that market. And then lastly, we've got a selling price of greater than $18 to $20. Below that, the lower your price point, the smaller the profit margins. And below around that $18 mark, the profit margins become very slim. So the higher your price point, the better your profit margins will be. And then on to step 2. And this is where you now want to start building out your list of products. And this is where the Jungle Scout tool can come in really handy. So you can find product ideas with our web app. And what you then do is you can search in our web app and you can select the categories that you're interested in looking in. You can set filters, such as the things that I've talked about, where you can set the number of sales that you want to see, minimum sales per month, the maximum number of reviews, and perhaps the minimum price point that you'd like to see. Then Jungle Scout will generate a whole list of product ideas for you. Then what you can do is explore those product ideas more over on Amazon. So for example, let's say a yoga mat came up as a good idea. You could click over onto Amazon and then look at all of the yoga mat listings. And that's where you can run the Jungle Scout Chrome extension right there on Amazon. And then that will give you a snapshot of all those top listings. It'll tell you, it'll give you an estimate of all their monthly sales. It'll tell you all of their reviews, the price point, all of that data just in a single snapshot. And that's a very easy way for you to assess that market using the criteria that I just talked about. Now, as you rinse and repeat this process, I'd recommend creating a list of at least 10 to 20 potential ideas. You don't want to just go for the very first idea that comes to mind. You want to have a wide list of ideas that you can then narrow down. Once you've got a list of ideas, you can actually store them all within Jungle Scout in a tool called the Product Tracker. And what the Product Tracker will do is it will track the daily sales of all of these products so that you can see over time how whether the sales numbers stay at the same amount or whether they dip down. Because if you only check the sales on one particular day, that might have been a day where there were really high sales or really low sales. Whereas if you track it over time, you can see more accurately what the average sales are before that product to help you or give you more confidence before you go ahead and order that product yourself. All right. So now that you've got a list of, say, 10 to 20 product ideas, you want to narrow these down into about the top 5 product ideas. You want to really narrow down this list to determine what you'd like to sell. And so these are some questions that you can ask yourself about this list of product ideas that you have to see whether or to kind of narrow it down. So do any of these products have really high competition? Or do they have a higher seasonality? Are they easily breakable, such as glass or ceramic? Ideally, it's better to sell products that are, simple and durable. We've also found that food, drinks, supplements, or topicals, they tend to be a little more high liability. There's a little more risk of something going wrong or someone getting sick from using that product. Other ones to perhaps stay away from, maybe more complex products such as electronics or anything that has a lot of moving parts. Next is high potential liability items. You'll see here helmet, life vest, baby car seat, etc. You'll notice a trend here that personally I recommend keeping things as simple as possible, reducing the risk of anything going wrong with your product, as that just makes the selling experience a lot easier for you. Next is trendy or fad items. An example of this is COVID-related products. Throughout the pandemic, there were a lot of products that trended up and were selling quite a bit. And so you need to determine, is this a trend that's going to continue, or is the trend going to go back down once the pandemic is over? And Jungle Scout is able to give you this historical trend data so you can actually see how sales have gone and whether they're continuing to trend up or down. And then finally, like I mentioned before, patented or products that require licensing. So those are ones that you would not be able to private label. So you would definitely want to stay away from those unless you're able to get the licensing for those. All right, now that you've narrowed down your product ideas, let's talk about how you can go about improving them. As I mentioned, that's one of the really important things that you need to do is differentiate your product from your competitors. And so there are 2 ways that I really like. The first way is to bundle your product with something else. So using the yoga mat example again, maybe you could sell your yoga mat with perhaps a couple of yoga blocks or a yoga strap and make it a set. And maybe that could be a way to differentiate your product from your competitors. Not only that, it allows you to increase your price so that you've got a higher price point and therefore higher profit margins compared to your competitors. And the way I would recommend going about that is if you click onto an Amazon listing, it actually tells you products frequently bought with this product. So I would look at a number of those listings and see what is frequently bought with that product. And that can give you a great indication of a good bundling opportunity. Now, the other way that you can go about differentiating your product is what's up here on the screen now. And that's by reading customer reviews on Amazon. And this is an incredibly powerful way to do sort of market research on these products before you sell your own. So what I would recommend is go into these competitor listings and start reading the 1-star, the 2-star reviews. See what real customers are unhappy with or don't like about these products. Is it something that breaks really easily? Is it not made of the right material? Write all these things down. Look through lots of reviews or negative reviews on Amazon. And then once you've collected all of the customer complaints, keep in mind you can actually note all of this data within Jungle Scout. You can note all of this next to the product you're interested in. You jot that all down. And then the final step is to innovate and apply these learnings that you've had. Take these things that you've learned and take them to your supplier and say, hey, are you able to make this product longer? Are you able to change the material that it's made of, make it more durable or stronger? Because a lot of customers are mentioning that this product continues to break. So that's how I'd recommend, or those are the two ways that I recommend differentiating or improving upon your product. Number one, bundling it with a related item, or number two, finding problems that customers are stating and then getting your supplier to fix that problem, and then you bring the improved version of that product to market. So that covers our 4-step process on how to find profitable products to sell on Amazon. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you've got some value from that one. And yeah, thanks for watching. I'll pass that one back to Serene.
Thank you so much, Lenny, for sharing with us.